Your typical Olympic day might begin when you are woken up with a text message telling you what the big events that are coming up that day. Obviously, the thing about an Olympics is it's a huge event, loads of different things happening. Not everybody is always aware what's going on. So we'd tell them what it was. We'd guide them through the day. On their way to work, they could listen to the live action on the radio and maybe get video highlights on their mobile phone. When they're at work, it was August, so hopefully they weren't flat out doing their day job. They might even have a chance to follow a bit of it on the website. The lunch break, they could maybe watch the live video of the big finals. On their way home, we would give them a podcast. And then in the evening, a key moment here for our linear TV coverage. You could watch the games today, the highlights. And then, of course, you went to bed, and it all started again. And it was this never-ending circle of Olympic action. And that was how we looked at the games. We wanted to make sure that our multi-platform experience really worked for our audience. If you look back to Sydney, as I said, that was really was the start of the digital experience. But when it came to how much we were able to show on digital TV, we didn't have the red button service. So back then, if you look at this graph here, the line on the left, the gold bar, that is how many hours of Olympic action video is available provided by the host broadcaster. It's around about 4,000 hours that are churned out every Olympics. Back then, the BBC was showing 250 hours of that. That was all we could show on BBC One and BBC Two. By 2004, that had increased quite a bit. We were able to show more than 1,000 hours because we had the extra stream on the red button, and we were now simulcasting that service on the web. And then by 2008, that figure had doubled again. So we were showing 2,750 of those available hours of action. But clearly, what we need to do for the London Games is going to be one of the biggest things the BBC ever undertakes, the Olympics in our own backyard. There'll be around 4,000 hours produced by the host broadcaster, and we need to find ways, technology, bandwidth, where we can show every bit of Olympic action as it happens. So if you're a fencing fan or a Greco-Roman wrestling aficionado, we will give you every bit of action. That has got to be our ambition. So what did we do for 2008? It was about using the YouTube model, the way that people consume video, and putting it on our website. So we used a flash player, and we made sure that our video was right next to our text coverage, our data, and everything else. This is the idea that you're looking at content in different ways. No longer the linear idea of, we're just going to churn out a bit of video for you. Everything will be available in one place, genuine convergence of different types of content. And our text commentary service, very, very popular part of what we did. We did quite a bit with blogs, whether it was celebrity bloggers like Chris Hoy, our own BBC Sport people from BBC News, and the Paralympics blog with the likes of Tanni Gray-Thompson. So we're trying to do more things around the blogging sphere. And again, this is something that we want to take forward even more by the time we get to London. And then we did quite a bit on mobile. Alex has touched on mobile already. I think right now it's quite niche, and the BBC would like to use an area like the Olympics as a way of really trying to push the audience that way, and maybe find out how people consume things. There's a small blue bar on the left. That is for Athens 2004. We streamed all the TV action was simulcast on our website. Over the course of the games, we served 2.4 million streams. For Beijing, that figure had been surpassed on the first day. So for the opening ceremony, we had more than 2.5 million videos. And across the whole of the Olympics, it was more like 40 million. So it's a 16-fold increase from where we were 4 years ago. That to us, as people who are trying to engage with our audience, is a really clear indication of how much things have changed in the last 4 years. Now we're looking ahead another 4 years. It's up to us with working with people like yourselves to work out how things are going to change again, how our audience is going to be consuming things in different ways by the time we get to 2012. The red line is UK users of the BBC Sport website. The blue line is international users. It's really to say that our traffic, the big spikes in our traffic are around big events, big stories, and no story or event was bigger than the Olympics. So we had 8.5 million people in the UK used our website per week during the Olympics, and another 5 million overseas. So significant numbers who are coming to us driven by the Olympics. It's the biggest driver that we have. The BBC are doing lots, but so are other media organisations out there, and this might give you a sense of areas that you might want to engage with. So NBC are even bigger than the BBC when it comes to the Olympics. What they did, they worked with Microsoft, developing the Silverlight technology that I'm sure many of you are aware of, and they offered a really interesting way to bring their video multi-screen player together with, again, a different way of integrating it with data and text. Lots of blogging in the States. It's an even more mature market than we have here. This is the New York Times blog, which they call the rings, although interestingly, because they don't have the rights to put the rings, you might be able to spot at the top. They've used stars instead of rings, which is quite cheeky. Because we have a major foothold in the internet world, we're doing text content in a way that newspapers traditionally have. Of course, it works the other way as well. So you've now got newspapers doing quite a lot of video stuff. So they're all using the Olympics as a hook to try new things. It's just worth saying, medals tables are really, really popular. And looking around at different websites, loads of different ways that people were displaying the different results. This is the most interesting one I saw. It's Channel 4. Channel 4 have no real Olympic content. You wouldn't expect to go to their site to get an idea of what's going on in the Olympics. But what they did do exceptionally well was with this medals table, where what they allowed you to do was to recut the medals table depending on different variables. So rather than just how many medals you won, they could do it on population. And in this example, this is somewhere during the first week, I think Slovenia are top. I think at the end, actually, Jamaica finished top of the population medals table. You could also even do it on human rights and GDP. So just give you an example of where, in terms of what the audience wants, it's things like this. This is providing a narrative for the Olympics that we found to be really quite fascinating. If you look back at when London got the honour of staging these games, it was built on a pitch that was all about participation. It was getting everybody involved. It was accessibility, and clearly it was about young people and diversity, and that's something that the BBC is very keen to reflect. By the time we get to the games, this will be the biggest event, as I said, that arguably the BBC has ever covered. It will involve every outside broadcast band in Northern Europe will be involved in this games. And the challenge for us is that we need to make it a games of the whole UK, not just something that's through the prism of London, but it's for the whole country. And because we have a major international footprint as well, we want to cover the games internationally. We want to tell the story of bringing the world to London and London to the world, and that's a big element of our content. We will have lots of video coverage, which will be provided by the host broadcasters. We want to have a load of third-party content, whether that's through the governing bodies of the various sports. There are 28 different sports in the games, or organisations like the Media Trust. And we obviously also want to engage with user-generated content and rights permitting archive. What we want to do by the time we get to 2012, and if anybody ever turns up at presentations like Alex and I do a lot for 2012, you hear the L word used a hell of a lot, the idea of legacy. LOCOG have the reason that London won the bid was because legacy was a huge bit of it. It is for the BBC as well, and that legacy is in 3 different areas. It's a legacy for our audience, and we want them to have a deeper relationship with content, so they've got access to it where they want, when they want it. So they understand the opportunities of digital technology, and we can help bridge the digital divide that still exists in some quarters within the UK. There is a legacy for our partners, and the whole point of an event like the Olympics is that the BBC is a public service organisation, but we do not expect to be doing this on our own. We want to work with other people, and that is partnerships with the technology sector, whether it's around distribution, content provision, whatever it might be, with the public sector and media organisations. And that we want to share the learning there. We don't want to do it on our own. We want to work with other people. And then there's the legacy for the BBC, and it's about learning more about the audience's relationship between content and platforms. It's about innovating, and it's about trying new things around personalisation. The ambition for us is that by the time we get to 2012, we think we can do something as seismic for the digital sector that, say, the coronation in 1953 did for the advent of TV. So thank you very much.